I was at Prudential Center for Full Gear. As soon as the Elite started their match against Death Triangle, my section and a whole lot of other sections on my side of the fence in Prudential Center started fuck CM Punk chants. Yeah, there was a lot of fuck CM Punk chants in the beginning stages of the match. The crowd, the AEW audience, is not stupid. And this is why using CM Punk creatively well is very important, because if you're going to try to shove CM Punk as a babyface after everything that he did last September, I think that is a recipe for disaster. Yes, he's going to be teaming up with FTR, and FTR are babyfaces. But if you think about it, CM Punk needs to come in as a heel, end off, period. That's all he needs to do. He needs to come in as a heel, because if he is not a heel, then what are we doing here? He has to come in as a heel, especially with CM Punk is going into Canada. Now, the AEW Collision shows in Canada are not selling well in tickets. Like, if you look at the ticket sales for AEW Collision in the Canadian markets, I'm telling you, bro, those numbers are fucking atrocious. We're going to have to wait and see what happens, but again, CM Punk really, if you think about it, needs to come in as a heel. It just makes sense creatively. Now, when it comes to the hard roster split, what I see AEW doing when it comes to AEW Collision and the roster itself is, I assume we are going to be getting overlapping stories on Dynamite and Collision. That is what I see happening. But at the same time, we're also going to be getting stories that are going to be exclusive to Dynamite and stories that are going to be exclusive to Collision, which is definitely the right way to go. Yes, there are pros and cons when it comes to the AEW roster split. You're giving talent more opportunities, but at the same time, we just do not know what's going to happen. So I assume we're going to be getting stories that are exclusive to Dynamite and stories that are exclusive to Collision, but also at the same time, we are going to be getting overlapping stories that cross between Dynamite and Collision. So that is what I see happening, and honestly, that is definitely the right direction to go. And when it comes to CM Punk and the Elite, I talked about this, and I even tweeted this out. I pray to God. I'm being 100% honest, man. I pray to God, and I mean this wholeheartedly, that when CM Punk comes back, now I know there's been NDA signed, there's been a lot of legal shit going on. I pray to God, though, at the end of the day, that there's reconciliation on all parties. Like, there's reconciliation on all parties, because, again, the whole situation that happened at All Out last September in Chicago was completely unnecessary. It did not need to happen. It was completely, it was honestly completely avoidable, and they ended up not avoiding it whatsoever, and Tony Khan let it slip with his fingers, and it all escalated that night after the pay-per-view. But hopefully there's reconciliation on all parties, and hopefully CM Punk is in line and knows what he's getting himself into, and hopefully he doesn't embarrass the company like he did back in September at All Out. I just hope that there's reconciliation on all parties involved at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, AEW knows what the fans want, and I know this sounds a little far-fetched, but it just has to be said. Everybody wants to see CM Punk versus the Elite. That is what everybody wants to see. AEW has sold almost 70,000 tickets at Wembley Stadium for All In, and what bigger main event you could have than CM Punk and FTR versus the Elite? That is probably the biggest main event you can do. The story is there. You can literally play this out for how many weeks, I don't know. Just do it. Just absolutely do it. But you have to sit everybody else in a room and just hash things out. All this whole situation was stemming on was Colt fucking Cabana. It was literally based on Colt Cabana, and that's it. It's absolutely ridiculous. But Tony Khan, also in this interview, talked about how AEW Collision came to be. Now, if you guys don't remember, when the story started coming out on AEW Collision, the stories were that this show was originally going to be on 605 on TNT or TBS on a Saturday night, and it ended up being a 2-hour show. Now, a lot of people were also speculating that this show was happening just because of CM Punk, and I remember when those reports started, I even went on this show and stated that this show will be happening with or without CM Punk, period. And it looks like Tony Khan kind of proved my point, and he stated that David Zaslav, the president of Warner Brothers Discovery, was the one that greenlit the show because he was very happy on what AEW was doing on the Turner Network. So that is Tony Khan's interview with Barstool and kind of like the retrospective on what he stated. At the end of the day, I'm excited on AEW Collision. I'm very excited to see what they're going to be doing. You know, one of the things I really hope they do, and they do not, you know, mistake kind of like they did with Rampage, is I want Collision to be different from Dynamite. What makes Collision different from Dynamite? From the presentation, from the booking style, everything about it needs to be different, honestly. You can't have Collision look exactly like Dynamite because then fans are going to be turned off. You have to make this show Collision just as important as you do AEW Dynamite. That's what you need to do at the end of the day, and hopefully AEW does that.